The sun was a pale yellow disk hanging low over the dusty plains of Virel. Sand swirled in small whirlwinds across the barren landscape. Ryan adjusted the straps of his backpack and squinted at the horizon. He had been exploring this uncharted planet for 3 days, mapping the terrain and searching for any signs of life. The scanners on his wrist device showed unusual energy readings to the east. He could not ignore them. As he walked toward the source, he felt the ground tremble beneath his boots. Small rocks bounced like they were alive, and a sudden gust of wind carried a faint metallic smell. Ryan stopped and crouched behind a ridge. His heart raced. There in the middle of the plain stood a figure unlike anything he had ever seen. The being was humanoid but taller and more muscular than humans. Its skin had a bronze shimmer like polished metal under sunlight. Armor covered its body, sleek and dark, reflecting the barren light. In its hand was a weapon that glowed faintly, a long, smooth tube with energy pulsing along its surface. Ryan's breath caught. The being had noticed him. He froze, hoping it would not move, but the alien soldier stepped forward. Each step was precise, controlled, and heavy enough to leave impressions in the sand. Ryan raised his hand slowly. "I am not here to fight," he said. His voice sounded small against the vast emptiness around them. The alien stopped a few meters away. Its helmet had a visor that reflected Ryan's image. Then it spoke in a calm, measured tone, the words clear despite the strange sound. "Who are you, human? Why are you here?" Ryan swallowed. "I am an explorer. My name is Ryan. I am mapping this planet. I mean no harm." The alien soldier tilted her head slightly. Ryan realized then that the voice belonged to a woman. There was something in her stance, something careful yet powerful. "You are trespassing on a restricted zone," she said. Her eyes were sharp, scanning him as if she could see every thought. "My orders are clear. You must be taken into custody or eliminated." Ryan's stomach tightened. "I do not want to fight. I can leave. Please, just let me go." The alien soldier did not respond immediately. Instead, she studied him, her weapon lowered slightly. The wind kicked up again, carrying fine sand across their feet. Ryan noticed small details. The way her armor was marked with scratches and dents, the faint scar across her cheek, the tension in her stance. This was not a mindless soldier. This was someone who had faced battles before. "You are brave, human," she said finally. "Or foolish. Perhaps both." Before Ryan could respond, a deep rumble shook the ground. He looked up and saw dark clouds forming rapidly overhead. A storm, more violent than any normal desert wind, was approaching. The clouds swirled with a strange green light. Lightning flashed, crackling across the sky in jagged lines. "We need shelter," Ryan said. He pointed toward a rocky outcrop nearby. "That way. It will be safer." The alien hesitated. "You expect me to trust you?" Ryan shook his head. "No. But if we do not work together, neither of us may survive the storm." She studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she lowered her weapon completely and nodded. "Follow me. Keep close." They ran toward the rocks as the first drops of acid rain fell, sizzling on the sand. The wind whipped against them, pushing hard, threatening to throw them off balance. Ryan felt fear rising, but also a strange thrill. He had never worked with an alien before, and now he was running for survival with one. When they reached the outcrop, the wind created a small barrier, shielding them from the worst of the storm. The alien soldier knelt and adjusted some controls on her armor. Sparks flew from a small panel, and suddenly a dome of energy appeared around them. The storm raged outside, but inside they were safe. "I am Tira," the alien said, finally removing her helmet. Her hair was silver, falling straight and shiny. Her eyes were a deep amber, almost glowing in the dim light of the storm. "Why are you here, human? Do you know the danger of this place?" Ryan shook his head. "I did not know. I thought it was uninhabited. I only wanted to explore." Tira's eyes narrowed. "Curiosity can be deadly. On this planet, many creatures do not forgive mistakes. Many have tried to explore and have not returned." Ryan felt a shiver. "I have been careful. I have scanners and shields, but I did not expect a person here." He gestured toward her. Tira gave a faint smile, the first human-like expression he had seen from her. "Few humans ever arrive here. Fewer survive long enough to be noticed." They sat in silence as the storm raged. Ryan watched her closely, trying to understand. She was disciplined, yes, but not cruel. She seemed thoughtful. After some time, Tira spoke again. "Tell me, human, why do your kind venture into unknown worlds? Do you seek knowledge? Power, glory? Ryan thought for a moment. I seek knowledge. I want to understand. Every planet, every star, every life form has a story. I want to learn them. I do not want to conquer or destroy. I want to understand, Tira tilted her head. Knowledge without caution can be dangerous. Many humans have underestimated the dangers of the universe. Rian nodded. I know, I have seen it. But I also believe humans are strong, clever, and resilient. We survive because we try, because we adapt. We learn from our mistakes and from each other. Tira considered this. The amber light of her eyes flickered with a strange emotion. Perhaps your kind is not entirely foolish. The storm began to subside, leaving a wet, glistening surface behind. Water pooled in shallow depressions in the rocks, reflecting the pale sun. Tira rose and checked the horizon. The storm will pass soon. We must leave this shelter before the terrain becomes unstable. Ryan stood as well. Do you know a safe way back? Tira nodded. I know the land. Follow me, human. Stay close. As they walked back toward the open plains, Ryan asked, Why did you lower your weapon? You could have killed me. Tira glanced at him. My emperor ordered me to kill you. But I saw you. I hesitated. I am not blind to bravery. I am not blind to reason. You are not an enemy, human. Ryan's heart raced. He had expected hostility, not this. Mercy. Then what now? Tira's gaze was steady. Now we survive. Then we decide. I am not yet certain where my loyalty lies, but I know this. I will not kill you without reason. As they crossed the plains together, Rian realized something extraordinary. This was not just survival. This was the beginning of something new. A human and an alien, once enemies by circumstance, now walking together toward uncertain fates. For the first time, he felt hope. Not blind hope, but a hope earned through courage, intelligence, and the understanding that sometimes, even across the stars, beings could choose honor over orders. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the sand. Ryan and Tira moved steadily, silently, each alert to danger but strangely comfortable in the presence of the other. The wind had calmed, leaving the world quiet, as if the planet itself was listening to the new bond forming between two very different lives. Rian glanced at Tira. She did not look like a friend yet, but she did not look like a threat either. In the vast emptiness of Virel, that was enough for now. And somewhere deep inside, both of them knew this encounter would change everything. The plains of Virel stretched endlessly under a pale sky. The storm had passed, leaving the world wet and glistening. Ryan followed Tira cautiously, his boots sinking slightly into damp sand. Every movement was careful. Every sound felt louder than normal. Though the storm had ended, the planet still seemed alive, watching, waiting. Tira walked ahead with her usual precision, her armor reflecting the dim sunlight. She carried herself with the grace of a trained soldier, every step measured, but Rian noticed something different about her now. She did not hold her weapon ready, and she occasionally glanced back at him, as if to make sure he was keeping pace. Why are you helping me? Ryan asked quietly, breaking the silence. Tira paused and looked out over the horizon. Because you have proven yourself capable. You survived the storm. Many would have perished. And because I am not blind to the difference between a threat and a being trying to survive. Rian nodded. I did not come here to fight. I came to explore. I wanted to understand the planet and its life. That is all. Tira studied him for a moment, her amber eyes thoughtful. Your kind often underestimates the dangers of unknown worlds. But you are different. You are cautious and observant. You think before you act. That is unusual for humans. Ryan smiled faintly. I try. Exploration without thought is death. Tira's lips curved slightly. Wise words. Do not forget them. They walked for hours, the wet sand making the journey slow and tiring. Ryan noticed strange plant forms around them. Some grew in twisted shapes with bright colors that seemed unnatural under the dim sun. Others were low and spiky, their edges glinting as if sharpened. A few small creatures darted between the rocks, moving too fast for Ryan to identify. This planet is alive in ways I did not expect, Ryan said, crouching to examine a plant with glowing leaves. Tira observed him silently. Virel is dangerous. Its beauty hides threats. Many humans who come here do not survive more than a day. You have already proven yourself resilient. Rian glanced up. Then why do you stay here, soldier? Do you not wish to leave this dangerous place? Tira did not answer immediately. She kept her eyes on the horizon, scanning. I have duties. My orders keep me here. But survival is not just about following orders. It is about knowing when to act and when to wait. You have much to learn about survival, human. They stopped near a small ridge for rest. Tira removed her helmet completely, letting her silver hair flow freely. Ryan did the same, wiping sweat and grime from his face. The two sat in silence, watching the landscape. Despite the tension, there was a strange comfort in their presence. You are different from the humans I have known, Tira said finally. Your people often rush into danger. You pause. You consider. You do not assume superiority. That is rare, Ryan looked at her. We are not all the same. Some act foolishly, yes, but some of us try to learn, to adapt. Survival depends on understanding, not strength alone. Tira's amber eyes softened. Perhaps that is why you have survived this long. Your mind is your greatest weapon. As the day passed, the wind rose again, cooler this time, carrying the scent of wet sand and strange minerals. Ryan noticed Tira flinching slightly at sudden noises, a reminder that even experienced soldiers could be cautious. He decided to share some of his knowledge, hoping it might ease their journey. This planet has unusual gravity, Ryan said. The sand and rocks shift unpredictably. Even small tremors can cause dangerous changes. You move carefully, but I want you to be aware. Tira nodded. I have noticed. I have survived here for months. I know the terrain. But your observations are useful. You are more aware than I expected. They continued walking, and soon they reached a canyon. The walls were high and jagged, with small caves carved into the rock. Tira paused at the edge, scanning for movement. This canyon is dangerous, she said. Creatures hide in the shadows. Many are predatory. We must move slowly. Ryan adjusted his backpack and followed her into the canyon. The walls towered above them, creating deep shadows. Every step echoed, every sound amplified. Small creatures skittered away, leaving trails of glowing dust. The air was cooler here, and the shadows seemed to hide secrets. As they walked, Ryan noticed Tira watching him closely. You are cautious, she said. But you are also curious. That is a dangerous combination on Varel. I cannot help it, Ryan admitted. Curiosity drives me. But I try to control it with caution. Tira's expression softened. That balance may keep you alive. Many fail because they cannot control their curiosity. They see something fascinating and rush forward. That is how they die. Hours passed, and they found a small cave that could serve as shelter for the night. Ryan gathered some dry materials and built a small fire, careful not to create smoke that could attract predators. Tira sat beside him, her armor clinking softly as she relaxed. You are skilled, human, she said. Many of your kind would not know how to survive here for even a few hours. Ryan smiled faintly. I learned from necessity. Survival teaches quickly. I also learned from others. Humans are resilient because we share knowledge, we help each other. Tira looked at him, her eyes thoughtful. I have not shared much with others. My training is discipline and obedience, but I see value in your words. Cooperation is sometimes stronger than orders. They sat in silence, the fire casting flickering shadows on the cave walls. Outside, the night sounds of Varel echoed. Strange calls, distant movements, and the wind whispering through the rocks. Yet inside, there was a fragile sense of safety, born from their cooperation. Tell me more about humans, Tira said suddenly. Your people have survived countless worlds. How do you endure? Ryan leaned back. We adapt, we learn. We fight, but we also think. And sometimes we forgive. Survival is not just strength. It is intelligence, courage, and compassion. Tira listened intently. Compassion. That is not common in soldiers. My kind values strength and obedience, but perhaps that is why humans endure. They spent the night sharing stories, the firelight dancing in Tira's amber eyes. Ryan told of distant planets, of civilizations that had risen and fallen, of human courage in impossible situations. Tira spoke cautiously of her own people, of battles fought, of orders followed, of moments where she had questioned authority quietly. By the time dawn approached, a bond had formed. It was subtle, fragile, but real. They were still cautious, still aware of the dangers, but they had begun to trust each other. The alien soldier who had once intended to kill him now walked beside him as an equal, sharing knowledge and skills. When the sun rose, painting the canyon walls with golden light, Ryan and Tira prepared to continue their journey. The canyon was full of threats, but together they had a chance. Their cooperation had allowed them to survive the storm, to share knowledge and to see each other not as enemies, but as beings capable of reason and honor. As they stepped out of the cave, Ryan glanced at Tira. She looked back at him, her expression unreadable. Yet there was a hint of respect there. Neither spoke, but the understanding was clear. They would face the dangers of Virel together, each learning from the other, each testing their limits, each discovering that survival was not just about strength or obedience, but about trust and courage. The journey ahead would be long, and the planet was full of dangers. Yet for the first time, Rian felt that they could endure anything, not just because of skill or weapons, but because they had chosen to rely on each other. And somewhere in the distance, hidden beyond the ridges and valleys, life watched them. Creatures that had once considered humans prey now observed with curiosity. Perhaps in a world of danger, cooperation between two very different species was a force stronger than fear itself. Ryan and Tira walked onward, leaving footprints in the damp sand, moving steadily toward the unknown. They had survived storms and dangers, but the real challenges were yet to come. For now, they had each other, and that was enough to face the next step of their journey. The canyon walls had narrowed into a tight corridor of jagged rock. Ryan and Tira moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing against the stone. The sun hung low, casting long shadows that twisted across the rocky floor. Every sound seemed amplified. The scraping of stone, the distant calls of unseen creatures, the faint hum of energy beneath the planet's surface. "We must move carefully," Tira whispered. "This area is known for predators. Some are blind but sense vibrations. Others are fast and deadly. If we are not alert, we may not survive." Rian nodded. He adjusted his scanner to a higher frequency, the small device beeping softly as it detected movement ahead. "I can see something up ahead," he said quietly. "It looks like a nest of some kind. It could be dangerous." Tira studied the reading. "Good, you are learning quickly. Your instincts are useful, human. Many of my people would ignore such details and pay the price." They continued forward, their senses alert. As they approached the nest, a creature emerged from the shadows. It was larger than any predator Ryan had seen on previous planets, with 4 legs and a spiked tail. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the dim sunlight. It hissed and crouched, ready to strike. Tira moved swiftly. She grabbed Ryan and pushed him behind a rock. In one motion, she raised her weapon and fired. A beam of concentrated energy struck the creature, and it fell back with a painful roar. Ryan watched, impressed by her skill but also aware of the danger they had just faced. "Are you hurt?" Tira asked, lowering her weapon. "No, I am fine," Ryan said, catching his breath. "You saved me." Tira shook her head. "We saved each other. That is what survival requires. We cannot survive alone in this world. Trust is more than words. It is action." Rian nodded, feeling a deep respect for her. He had seen courage before, but Tira's strength was more than physical. It was disciplined, controlled, and guided by reason. She was not a mindless fighter. She was a strategist, a protector, and now his companion. They moved on, leaving the fallen creature behind. The canyon opened into a wide valley, filled with strange rock formations and patches of glowing flora. Energy readings on Rian's scanner spiked. "Something is emitting a strong energy field ahead," he said. "It is not natural. This could be a settlement or a base of some kind." Tira's eyes narrowed. "It is likely an outpost. My Emperor's forces operate here. If they detect us, they will attack. We must approach carefully." They crept forward, using the rocks as cover. From a ridge above, they could see a complex of structures built into the cliffs, tall towers with lights flickering in green and blue. Energy barriers surrounding the main area. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their armor similar to Tira's but marked with higher rank insignia. Ryan whispered, "There are dozens of them. If we are discovered, we will be outnumbered." Tira nodded. "That is why we must not be seen. We will gather information and leave. We are not here to fight unless we have no choice." They circled around the base, observing silently. Ryan's scanners picked up transmissions, encrypted but detectable. "They are coordinating a mission," he said. "It looks like they plan to attack nearby human settlements. This is bigger than I imagined." Tira's amber eyes darkened. "I feared this. My Emperor's orders are not just to control this planet. He wants to expand into human territories. If the mission succeeds, many will die." Ryan clenched his fists. "We cannot allow that. We have to stop it." Tira studied him. "It is dangerous. My loyalty is torn. I was trained to follow orders. But I am not blind. I see the truth in your words. We may be able to prevent a disaster, but it will not be easy. They waited until nightfall, using the cover of darkness to move closer. Ryan observed the alien outpost with fascination. The technology was advanced far beyond human designs, yet it was not invincible. Power nodes lined the walls, connecting to energy barriers. Guards moved in patterns predictable if watched carefully. "We can bypass the outer defenses," Tira said quietly. "But the central control room is heavily guarded. That is where the mission orders are stored." "We need a plan," Ryan nodded. "I can hack into their system. It will take time, but if we disable the controls, we can prevent the attack." Tira studied him. "Your kind relies on cleverness in machines. My people rely on discipline and strength. Together we may have a chance." They moved silently, avoiding patrols and using shadows to stay hidden. Ryan's knowledge of human technology and Tira's understanding of the alien systems created a perfect combination. Where she moved with speed and precision, he provided insight and strategy. As they approached the control room, a sudden alarm sounded. Red lights flashed across the valley. Ryan and Tira froze. Soldiers appeared from the towers, scanning the area with glowing sensors. "We are discovered," Tira whispered. "We must act quickly." Ryan activated a small device, sending a pulse that disrupted the nearest sensor grid. The guards were momentarily blinded, giving them a chance to move. They sprinted toward the control room, Tira covering the rear with precise shots that disabled security drones. Inside the control room, machines hummed with energy. Ryan began connecting his hacking device, fingers moving quickly over the interface. Tira stood guard, watching for incoming threats. The alien system was complex, far more sophisticated than any human technology he had seen. But Ryan's determination was stronger than the challenge. Minutes passed, tense and silent except for the hum of machines and the occasional report from patrolling guards. Finally, Ryan spoke. "I have access to the system. We can stop the mission, but I need to override the main protocols. It will take a few minutes." Tira scanned the room. "Then make it fast. They will return." Ryan worked, bypassing layers of encryption and rerouting energy flows. Sweat dripped down his face, but he did not stop. Tira watched him, her hand ready on her weapon.
She realized something important. Humans were not just survivors.
They were problem solvers. They did not rely on brute strength alone. They used their minds, their creativity, their courage. Finally, the system accepted his override. Lights in the valley flickered and went dark. Alarms stopped. The energy barriers collapsed. The soldiers outside hesitated, confused by the sudden loss of power. Ryan exhaled. "It is done. The mission cannot continue." Tira lowered her weapon slightly. "You have done something remarkable, human. You have prevented a disaster." They left the control room and moved back into the shadows. Outside, the alien soldiers were regrouping, but the chaos had given them enough distance to escape. Ryan and Tira ran across the valley, moving toward safety. When they reached the canyon, they paused to catch their breath. The night was calm, the stars reflecting off the damp rocks. For a moment there was silence, and in that silence a sense of accomplishment. They had survived the dangers of Varel, outsmarted a superior force, and prevented a tragedy. Tira looked at Ryan, her expression serious but respectful. "You have proven yourself not just brave but capable. My emperor ordered me to eliminate you. Yet here you are, alive and victorious. You have shown qualities that my people rarely see in humans." Ryan smiled faintly. "We worked together. That is why we survived. I could not have done this alone." Tira nodded. "Then perhaps this is the lesson. Survival is not about strength alone. It is about cooperation, courage, and intelligence. You have taught me that today." They rested for a few moments, the adrenaline fading. Ryan looked at Tira and realized something profound. This was not just about survival. This was about understanding, about seeing value in others, about rising above orders and expectations. Tira had chosen to trust him, to act with honor rather than blind loyalty. The mission had been a success, but their journey was far from over. Varel was full of dangers, and other forces might still threaten human settlements. Yet for the first time, Ryan felt confident. Together, they could face whatever the planet threw at them. As dawn approached, painting the canyon walls with soft golden light, Ryan and Tira prepared to move forward. The events of the night had changed them. They were no longer simply explorer and soldier. They were allies, united by shared purpose and mutual respect. And somewhere in the distance the planet continued to watch, as if acknowledging the bond that had formed between two very different beings. A human and an alien working together had changed the course of events. Perhaps on Virel even the smallest choices could shape the future. Rian took a deep breath. We did it. But this is only the beginning. There will be more challenges. Tira's amber eyes met his. Then we will face them together. Orders can be changed. Rules can be broken when honor and reason demand it. We are capable of more than blind obedience. Remember that, human? Ryan nodded. He had learned much already, but he also knew the journey ahead would test them in ways they could not yet imagine. Still, with courage, intelligence, and trust, he believed they could endure. Side by side, they continued deeper into the canyon, ready to face whatever dangers and mysteries awaited them on the planet of Virel. The morning sun cast long shadows over the jagged cliffs of Virel. Ryan and Tira moved cautiously, aware that the events of the previous night had not gone unnoticed. The alien outpost's alarms had been silenced, but the soldiers would soon discover the disruption. They could not linger. We must reach higher ground, Tira said, scanning the horizon. From there we can see the surrounding plains and avoid patrols. It will also give us time to decide our next move. Rian nodded, adjusting his pack. Lead the way. I will follow. The climb was steep, the rocks slippery from the storm. Each step required focus as loose stones threatened to send them tumbling. Tira moved with practiced agility, her strength and skill evident in every motion. Ryan followed carefully, relying on balance and observation. As they reached a narrow ledge halfway up the cliff, Rian paused to catch his breath. Tira, I need to ask you something, he said quietly. Why did you save me last night? You could have followed your orders and stopped me. You risked everything. Tira's amber eyes met his, because I saw you as more than a human target. I saw someone who was capable of understanding, of reason, of courage. My Emperor's orders do not always reflect honor. I am not blind to that. Rian felt a surge of respect. So your loyalty is flexible? Tira shook her head slightly. Not flexible. It is guided by conscience. Orders are one thing. Honor is another. I am beginning to understand that blindly following commands can lead to disaster. Sometimes the right action requires defiance. Ryan nodded slowly. That is why we survived. We used reason and courage, not just strength. They reached the top of the cliff, the wind whipping around them. Below, the plains stretched endlessly, dotted with alien patrols and the distant outpost. Ryan's scanner picked up signals. Reinforcements were on their way. Time was short. We need a plan, Tira said. We cannot fight them all. We must use strategy and intelligence. There is one opportunity. The central command tower of the outpost houses mission directives. If we can access it, we may prevent future attacks entirely. Ryan's eyes widened. Then we need to act fast. I can hack the system again, but we will have to move carefully. Any mistake could cost us our lives. Tira nodded. Agreed, we will move at dawn. Night gives us cover, but dawn will give us visibility. We cannot fail. As they prepared for the climb down, Tira paused. Her expression was tense. I must tell you something, human. My loyalty to my Emperor is not broken entirely. If I fail in my duties, I risk dishonor, punishment, even exile. The decision I make now may define my life. Rian placed a hand on her shoulder. Then make the choice guided by reason and honor. Not by fear or blind orders. Tira's amber eyes softened. Your kind has a strange way of seeing the world. Perhaps that is why you survive. Very well, we will act together. But remember, one wrong move could destroy everything. The night fell, cloaking the valley in darkness. Tira and Rian moved silently, using rocks and shadows as cover. The alien soldiers were alert, but the confusion from the previous night worked to their advantage. They approached the command tower, its lights flickering faintly, guards stationed around the perimeter. Ryan whispered, We can disable the outer sensors first. That will give us access. Tira nodded. Do it. I will cover you. Rian connected his device to a terminal near the base of the tower. Sparks flew as he bypassed the energy lock. The outer sensors blinked and went dark. Guards looked around, confused, but did not immediately notice the intruders. Tira's eyes scanned the area. Move quickly. Time is short. They entered the tower, its interior a maze of corridors lined with glowing panels. Machines hummed and faint lights indicated active systems. Ryan approached the main control room, the most secure area in the tower. Tira took a position by the door, watching for intruders. Inside, Ryan connected his hacking device to the main console. Streams of data appeared, the alien language complex but logical. He worked quickly, decoding instructions and rerouting energy flows. Outside, footsteps echoed and Tira's weapon glimmered faintly in the dim light. Suddenly, the door opened slightly and a soldier entered. Tira moved like lightning, disabling him with a non-lethal strike. "We cannot afford to kill unless necessary," she whispered. Ryan nodded. "Almost done. I just need a few more minutes to override the mission protocols." Minutes passed. Ryan's fingers moved quickly, his mind focused entirely on the task. Finally, he spoke. "It is complete. The mission has been cancelled." "Orders cannot be executed." Tira lowered her weapon slightly, relief mixed with tension. "Well done, human. You have prevented catastrophe. But now comes the real test. My Emperor will discover this. He will demand accountability. I must face him." Ryan's heart sank. "Then what will you do?" Tira's eyes were steady, determined. "I will make my choice. I can follow orders and execute my duty, or I can act with honor. I will not kill without reason. I will not allow innocent lives to be destroyed." Ryan nodded. "Then choose what you know is right. That is true courage." They left the control room and moved back toward the cliffs. Patrols were converging, alerted by the minor disruptions. Tira led them through hidden paths, using her knowledge of the terrain to avoid detection. They climbed higher, seeking a vantage point. When they reached the ridge, the alien forces were visible below. Soldiers moved in formation, searching for intruders. Command signals pulsed from the tower, but the orders had been neutralized. Tira looked down at the valley, her expression firm. "My Emperor ordered me to kill you, human," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "But I have chosen differently. I will not obey orders that destroy life without reason." Ryan's heart raced. "Then what will you do?" Tira took a deep breath and threw down her weapon. The energy hum ceased and the alien soldiers froze in surprise. "I refuse to follow this command," she said loudly. "I choose honor over orders." The soldiers looked to each other, unsure how to respond. Some hesitated, unsure of their own loyalty. Tira's act had created confusion, breaking the rigid discipline that had ruled them. Ryan watched in awe. This was more than bravery. It was a declaration of conscience, a stand for morality over blind obedience. His respect for Tira grew deeper. "They may attack us," Ryan said quietly. Tira shook her head. "Not yet. My choice has given them pause. They are not mindless. They can see the strength in honor. We must move quickly but carefully. We can turn this moment into an opportunity." Together they descended the ridge, using the confusion to slip past patrols. Ryan's scanners detected other energy nodes, but they remained inactive, disrupted by the earlier hacking. The soldiers below were uncertain, some lowering weapons, others watching, waiting for orders that would not come. As they reached the canyon floor, Ryan said, "You have changed everything. You did not just save me. You may have saved many lives." Tira's amber eyes reflected the rising sun. "Perhaps. But this is only the beginning. My choice is made, but consequences will follow. I will face my Emperor and I will explain my actions. He may not forgive, but I know I acted rightly." Ryan nodded. "Humans fight for survival and we fight for what is right. I see now that your people can too. Honor is stronger than fear." They paused for a moment, the wind carrying the scent of wet rock and strange flora. For a brief time there was silence, and in that silence a sense of accomplishment and clarity. They had survived the storm, outsmarted superior forces, and now stood together, facing the consequences of courage and conscience. Tira looked at Ryan. "The future is uncertain, human. But this bond, this understanding between us may change many things. You have taught me that loyalty is not blind. Strength is not only physical. Courage is knowing when to act rightly, even against orders." Ryan smiled. "And you have taught me that even in the face of great power, conscience matters. Survival is not enough. We must act with wisdom and honor." The canyon stretched before them, vast and dangerous. Yet, for the first time, they felt capable of facing whatever lay ahead. Together, they had made a choice that defied command, embraced morality, and strengthened the bond between two very different species. The sun rose higher, illuminating the landscape. Ryan and Tira moved forward side by side, ready to face new dangers, knowing that courage, intelligence, and honor could overcome even the greatest challenges. The cliffs of Virel stretched high above the plains, glowing under the rising sun. Ryan and Tira had descended from the ridge, moving carefully through the rocky terrain. The alien soldiers below remained disorganized, their confusion still fresh from Tira's bold refusal to follow the Emperor's orders. For the first time, Rian realized the power of a single choice guided by conscience. "We need to move quickly," Tira said, her amber eyes scanning the horizon. "The confusion will not last. Orders may be restored and soldiers will regroup. We must leave this area and plan our next step." Rian nodded. "Where will we go?" Tira paused, thinking. "There is a human settlement on the northern plains. If we reach it, we can warn them and prepare defenses. It is far, but we can make it." The journey was difficult. The plains were littered with jagged rocks and strange flora that glowed faintly in the early light. Creatures moved in shadows, some cautious, some predatory. Rian and Tira relied on each other. Tira's combat skill and knowledge of the terrain guided them, while Rian's observations and quick thinking helped them avoid traps and hazards. As they walked, Rian spoke quietly. "I never imagined that an alien soldier would choose to protect a human. That takes courage beyond strength." Tira glanced at him. "Courage is not always physical. Sometimes it is knowing what is right, even when it risks everything. My people often follow orders blindly. I have chosen differently. That is my courage," Rian nodded, "and it will inspire others. Humans survive because we learn from each other and adapt. You have done the same." They continued, climbing over rocky ridges and through narrow valleys. As the sun climbed higher, they finally saw the human settlement in the distance. Small structures clustered together, protected by defensive walls and observation towers. Smoke rose from chimneys, a sign of life and activity. Rian smiled faintly. "We made it. But we cannot stop here. We must warn them and help prepare defenses. The Emperor's forces may still try to attack." Tira's amber eyes were serious. "Then we act as we must. Together we can make a difference." As they approached the settlement, scouts on the walls spotted them. Rian raised his hands, showing they were not a threat. Soldiers moved forward cautiously, weapons raised. "Identify yourselves," a human guard called. "I am Rian, an explorer," Rian said. "And I am Tira, a soldier from the alien empire. I refuse to follow orders that would harm humans. We have information that can prevent an attack." The guards exchanged uncertain looks, but the settlement's commander stepped forward. "An alien soldier, aiding humans?" He studied Tira carefully. "This is unprecedented." Tira bowed her head slightly. "I understand your doubt, but I have chosen honor over orders. My knowledge of the enemy's plans can save your people. If you trust me, I can help prevent disaster." Rian added, "We must act quickly. The Emperor's forces will not wait. We have time, but not much." The commander nodded. "Very well. We will hear you. Lead the way." Inside the command center, Tira and Rian explained everything. The Emperor's plans, the locations of alien outposts, and the timing of attacks. Maps of the plains were spread across tables marked with symbols and coordinates. Human officers listened carefully, absorbing the information. "This is invaluable," one officer said. "If these attacks succeed, our settlements could be destroyed. With this information, we can prepare defenses and evacuate civilians if necessary." Tira spoke quietly. "I cannot undo the orders completely, but I can show you how to defend yourselves. I can guide you to disrupt their forces and prevent destruction." Rian nodded. "Humans survive because we act. Knowledge and courage together can overcome even the strongest enemies. Tira has proven that." The settlement began to mobilize. Soldiers trained with Tira, learning tactics and strategies designed to counter the alien forces. Rian assisted in planning, using his understanding of technology and the terrain to create traps and early warning systems. Days passed. Communication networks were established, scouts sent out, and defenses strengthened. The human settlers worked tirelessly, inspired by the bravery of both Rian and Tira. The bond between human and alien became a symbol of hope, showing that cooperation could overcome fear and hatred. Then the attack came. Alien forces approached, flying over the plains in swift armored ships. Ground troops advanced with precision, expecting easy victories. But the humans were ready. They moved with coordination, traps disabling alien vehicles, ambushes striking at the flanks. Tira guided the defense, her knowledge of alien tactics invaluable. Rian worked alongside her, activating energy disruptors and scanning for enemy movement. The humans adapted quickly, learning from every engagement. The alien soldiers were surprised by the intelligence and courage of their opponents. They had expected fear but found strategy, bravery, and determination instead. In the midst of the battle, Tira spotted a high-ranking alien officer giving orders from a command ship. She realized this was the key to stopping the attack completely. "Ryan, we must take out that officer. If we disrupt command, their forces will falter." Ryan nodded. "Then we do it. Together." Using a small, fast craft, they approached the command ship. Alien guards moved to intercept, but Tira's skill and Ryan's quick thinking allowed them to bypass most defenses. Reaching the officer, Tira confronted him directly. "You will not harm these humans," she said firmly. "I refuse to obey orders that destroy innocent lives." The officer hesitated, surprised by her defiance. "You will be punished for this," he said. Tira's amber eyes were steady. "Then let my actions be known. Honor and conscience are stronger than fear and obedience. Your orders will not succeed." With precise movements, she disabled the ship's command systems. Alien forces faltered, confusion spreading through their ranks. Below, human forces pressed the advantage, driving back the alien troops. The battle turned decisively. By nightfall, the plains were quiet again. The alien forces had retreated, and the human settlement stood intact. Ryan and Tira surveyed the aftermath, exhaustion mixed with relief. Civilians and soldiers alike were safe. The courage and intelligence of humans, combined with Tira's honor and skill, had saved countless lives. The settlement's commander approached. "You have done more than survive. You have inspired hope and changed the course of this conflict. Your actions will be remembered." Tira nodded, looking at Ryan. "We acted together. Strength, courage, intelligence, and honor. That is what allowed us to succeed. Humans have taught me much. Perhaps my people can learn as well." Ryan smiled faintly. "We survive because we act for what is right. And sometimes allies come from the most unexpected places." In the following weeks, humans and those alien soldiers who had witnessed Tira's defiance began discussions. There was cautious trust and small alliances formed. The Emperor's forces, confused by the rebellion within their ranks, retreated from nearby systems, unwilling to risk further losses. Ryan continued his work, mapping new territories, studying life on Virel, and assisting in rebuilding efforts. Tira chose to remain with the humans for a time, helping to train and advise them, her loyalty now guided by honor rather than blind obedience. Together, they had changed the future. The humans had survived not just because of their strength, but because of courage, intelligence, and compassion. Tira had proven that even among alien forces, conscience and honor could overcome fear and orders. As the sun set over the plains, Ryan and Tira stood together, watching the horizon. The sky was painted with shades of gold and orange, reflecting hope and possibility. "Do you think they will forgive you?" Ryan asked quietly. Tira shook her head slightly. "Perhaps not. But I do not act for forgiveness. I act for what is right." "That is enough," Ryan nodded. "Then we have done what matters. We have survived. We have saved lives. We have changed the future." Tira looked out at the plains, the faint glow of settlement lights below, and perhaps one day more will understand that strength without honor is empty, but courage guided by conscience can shape worlds. The night settled over Virel, peaceful and calm. For the first time in a long while, the planet seemed to breathe easier. Life would continue, humans would endure, and the bond formed between a human and an alien would remain as a symbol of hope, courage, and honor. Ryan and Tira turned back toward the settlement, side by side. Their journey was far from over, but the future was brighter than before. They had faced storms, dangers, and impossible odds. They had chosen wisely, acted bravely, and survived with honor. And in the quiet of the night, under the endless stars of Virel, two very different beings walked together, proving that unity, courage, and reason could overcome even the greatest threats.